The good old clap, take one.
That's right.
How many of you knew what you wanted to be when you were 7 years old? I did. I wanted to be world champion.
Hey, is there honesty involved in this podcast? Can we be honest?
You can shut your fucking lips.
And then I'll just say, put them up, what? Let's go.
He's like, you look too pretty on the wave. Get ugly.
We can talk about DMT if you want.
I thought we were boxing.
All right, we have Jack Robinson back on the lineup, almost a year to the day from your last appearance, I think. And we're honored to have you back. So thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Dave. Stoked to be back. Lots happened. It's been pretty much 12 months. So, yeah, I'm in the same place where we did it last year, back in my hometown. So, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and we're going to get to all that because when we were talking about like, oh man, what are we going to talk about? We're like, it's been 12 months and he's had a hell of a 12 months, but we're going to get to that. But you're back in your hometown. What are you up to today? It's a few days before the event window opens up. Are you surfing? Are you working? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm surfing. The weather's amazing. I'm enjoying the place again. Just that feeling when you haven't been here for so long. It's like, I don't know. It's just I missed it so much. I love coming back here, and even just getting a couple of weeks here, getting that. It's great. It's like a recharge, before I go to this next back half of the year. So, yeah, I'm just really happy. We have the event as well coming up. Good time to be back.
How long has it been since you've actually been home? Like a few months, or what's been the time?
It's been since May last year. I went to the Gold Coast and then went to the wave pool, and I never came back. And now I just got back 2 days ago because the state was closed for so long. It was so hard to get back in, and now it's all back. It's been a crazy couple of years, but now we're back, and it's probably good. It makes me. It's such an easy place to stay at when you're here for a long time. You would never want to leave it because the waves are good and everything's easy, but it's easy. I can come and go now, and I'm just appreciate when I am here.
That makes sense. And obviously we talked about that in the last podcast, how much you traveled when you were younger, but May last year, that's like, 10 or 11 months. Is that the longest you've been away from home for a long time?
Yeah, that would have been the longest I've ever been away, 10, 11 months. I was in Hawaii for 4 months of it, which was great. The season was awesome. But yeah, it's, I'm used to it. I'm a world traveler. We have a world tour and I have to go after what I'm aiming for. And that's, doing the best I can with that. So, that's my focus, but yeah, home is home. It'll always be here.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, let's dig into the present season first, then we'll wind the clock back a little bit from those last 12 months between our last conversation and now. But pretty good season so far, although it's been a little bit inconsistent. 17th at Pipe, 5th at Sunset, 17th in Peniche, and then a 3rd at Bells, all of which were really impressive. Even sort of your 17th at Pipe, like amazing waves for a lot of that for you. Generally speaking, though, how have you felt about your season so far?
I mean, for me, coming into Pipe, obviously, I'm feeling amazing. There's just more experience as well, being on tour for the first, year that I didn't surf as much. We barely had an event, but then obviously the year that I was on last year, and we had all, a fair few events. It's different coming in again. You're just a bit more used to it. There's more experience. You learn so much, and you know what it's about. You've done it. But I had, big expectations for Pipe. It's obviously I've won out there before at other events, and it was huge, especially starting in Hawaii. You expect to come out in the top 3, top 2 in the world, like in that top couple of guys. But that's not how competition is. It was hard to take the first one, and then Sunset, you get focused again and you go again and you build on it. The year is like that. It's up and down sometimes, but we're building. So I'm feeling good and just staying really happy as well. I want more. I'm hungry, but I'm staying happy at the same time too. And I'm feeling good. Yeah. Yeah.
This came up a few weeks ago when we were talking to Sally, just how disruptive starting in Hawaii has been, because for about 2 decades, we'd finish in Hawaii in December on the CT. We'd have a few months off. And then I don't want to say it was easy, but it was a bit more of an ease in where it's like you're going to this really playful high performance wave at Snapper Rocks in early March. You're staying in Australia and the season kind of builds from there, as opposed to what it is now, which is, hey, you're starting at Pipe in prime season in January, and that's the first event of the year. You being fairly new to the tour wouldn't have known the rhythm otherwise, but have you noticed that amongst your peers, just thinking like, oh man, like the regular performers are maybe not performing as well as they used to, and there's been a lot of surprises?
Well, yeah, it's different. I mean, you get so used to a routine, maybe as a competitor, and you're doing the same thing for so many years. And then as soon as it changes or you get thrown off, then you get thrown off. I mean, that's what happens probably to a few guys and girls. They probably hadn't put in as much time, at those locations over those years, and but that also can be something to work on too. Like you got to be ready for anything on tour as well. Even one event changes so much what conditions we have. So changing a location and switching it around, you just have to probably put in more time and be more ready, instead of easing your way in and being so used to something. You're not always comfortable at every event. You have to be. It's just ever changing, this tour. So I get more used to it now, seeing the calls and just, oh, we're on, we're not. Oh, okay, so you really have to stay ready. It's not easy to do. I could see that, for a lot of other people, they're not used to something being so intense to start off the year.
For sure. And obviously your comfort level, both inside and outside of Jersey and Hawaii, is well established and sort of universally regarded. And then Europe is always sort of a crapshoot to a degree. But I do want to talk a little bit about Bells, because you had an amazing run there. And Bells it didn't run last year when you were on the CT. Last time it did run was 2019. I am curious as to how much experience you had competing at Bells and how successful you were in the years before you were on the championship tour.
Right. I never competed at Bells as a kid. I remember I went there on one trip that I did, and I stayed there for 4 or 5 days, and I surfed Bells once, and then I surfed Winky Pop a couple of times. But I do remember it, and I remember, it was good going back there as a kid. Only going once as a kid, but also I went a few weeks before the event too. And I just went to go and see it before the whole tour got there, just to get eyes on it. But you hear so much about it, and some people don't like the wave. And then I always looked at it though, I was like, I probably will like this wave. It is similar in some ways to Hawaii. It's, it is good, but I try to be able to learn places as quick as possible, and give me a couple of weeks and let it grow on you. That's what it was. But no, I didn't have much time at all, and I was sort of visualizing the wave more than I've ever been there. So that's what I had to do a bit more. It's like, okay, got to let it grow on me in that way.
I mean, it seemed like it worked out, obviously. And I think too, like probably that comparison to Hawaii is an apt one, and even probably to a lot of the setups in Western Australia too, because it just seems like it is one of those waves that vexes, elite level surfers who either haven't thought about it enough or haven't competed there enough. And you see really good surfers struggle out there. In addition to the visualization and going down there a little bit earlier, did you do anything specific with your equipment? Were you trying new things? I'm just curious, and we'll kind of get into, I guess, the rounds because you did so well, but I'm wondering if there was anything else that you worked on.
I mean, the boards, and I was on sharp ice for that event, and I've been riding those a lot. So my shaper there, Brendan, he obviously has surfed down there a lot, and he knows what to make. He's obviously making boards for Morgan Siblick, and then a lot of other guys that are on tour, they'll get boards from him when they come to Oz. So that part was taken care of. But yeah, I think it's interesting about different locations on tour. Like, I've been to Hawaii so many times as well, just going back, and I feel like I'm very established there. But then Also, just letting places grow and expectations as much. Sometimes when you've been there a lot to a certain place, you have a big expectation for it. And sometimes that becomes the focus more. Oh, I got to take the win. I'm expected to win this place. But it's going to Bells maybe was a different location and I haven't been there. So I made myself not expect too much. And it was nice to go there and actually just not have it, like they're not feeling heavy, to perform so well, okay, I'm going to go and let it grow on me and I'll perform, take it as it comes. That was nice. It's good. Yeah.
That's really interesting. And while you say you didn't put the expectations on yourself, I think something that you and certainly the rest of the field has been thinking and obviously vocalizing recently is the looming mid-season cut, right? And as we talked about, not the result you wanted at Pipe, much better at Sunset Beach, not the result you wanted in Peniche. So heading into Bells, was the mid-season cut something that was on your mind? I obviously it was, but was it something that you were worried about? Is maybe a better way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, it pops in and out of your mind. And a lot of guys are obviously gonna, they're gonna be focusing on that too. It takes energy, is what I'm trying to get to. Is you're gonna be thinking about it a bit. I mean, obviously, a lot of us aren't the biggest fans of it, but then also, have to go and do a job and go and surf, and obviously, it wasn't my focus in the end. I'm going to go and perform and do my job. I sort of went, okay, I have no fear towards anything else. Just when you have these things come into your mind, it's like, okay, yes, it's there, but I'm not going to perform any better if it is the focus, and that wasn't the focus. I knew it was there. I was able to really just have a narrow focus, which was good. I was enjoying the place, what it was. I wasn't so worried about the cut. Because some guys you see, you can probably tell they're thinking about it. It's, there's a lot to think about. It changes a lot of things, it makes you think about it a lot. But I was very clear. I was good. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, I completely understand that too. I was somewhat offline last week with spring break with the twins, but obviously pulled into a few conversations. And the way I looked at it, just in terms of the response, was I said, well, as I said to our CEO, I said, well, the bottom third probably don't like it, and they're going to vocalize that because they're getting cut. And the middle third probably don't like it because they don't feel safe. And then the top third probably don't care either way because it's working out just fine for them right now. So
yeah,
I said,
that's true.
It all makes sense in terms of the response, but it is interesting just to hear how different people kind of handle that pressure. And if you take a look at your round results, opening round, second place over Jadson under Kolohe, round of 32, you take down Leonardo, round of 16, you defeat Ima Kalani, and then the quarterfinals was the nail biter against Italo Ferreira. Out of those heats, did any of them you said you were kind of focusing on building at the wave. Did any of them stand out to you as like, that felt like the right way to surf this wave?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was adapting well. I was just playing it smart at least, and making heats. That's what we're all trying to do. But yeah, there's so many, with the cut and all this stuff looming, like that could come into your mind so easily. It's like it could take over really easily. But I didn't see myself, below that. I see myself belonging here. This is my moment, and this is where I'm here to stay. So I wasn't really focused on that. It was, it was the event and how to surf the waves. That's what you asked me. It was, I was focused on that. That was the main goal. Bells is a tricky spot. It's not easy. You have to surf smart. And I think, the more time I put in out there, hopefully the better it will be. It's, it felt good though, just to make heats. It's always nice to make heats. Everyone is surfing so good. So to have some heats and next time I don't want it to be so close, on a couple of them. Make sure you lock guys up, especially in the quarters against Italo. I don't want it. It's a close heat, but I don't want to have that. But yeah, it'll be good. Just happy to get a keeper result. It's good.
Yeah, it was a great result. And as you said, Bells giveth and she taketh away, right? You you get it low in the dying seconds, and then in the quarterfinals, and then against rookie Callum Robson, who I think impressed everybody. Although funny enough, we had Adam Robertson on the podcast the week before Bell started, and he was the one guy that he said Callum's been ripping, and I'm like, wow, he must know his shit. He nailed this guy before the event, and you were so close to that final, right? 0.36 off in getting there. So I'm sure you're stoked with the result, but probably frustrated not to be in the final at the same time.
For sure. I want to be there. I want to obviously always get the most I can get out of it and take it out. Get to ring that event one day in my career, but it was nice, maybe, I also looked at it, it was nothing against him. Maybe, he's had a hard road as well, and it was his moment, to make that heat. And I'm just excited to carry the momentum, and build on it. That's the main thing I take out of it. And yeah, that's where I'm at. So
I think it's pretty incredible. I know we talked about this a little bit the last time you came on the pod, and I know we've talked about it before and after that too, and you've been really gracious and candid with the media about this too, but just the conversation around, how prodigious you were in your youth at, surfing really critical waves, heavy waves, at doing the big, exciting aerial maneuvers as well. But then, as you've sort of admitted, like there's parts of your surfing that you've really worked on, even after qualifying, really worked on. And I as someone who, is fortunate enough to observe the world's best surfing for as long as I do, it seems like a lot of that came together at Bell's. We talked about how it wasn't a spot that you'd had a ton of experience on, but it feels like all that work you've been putting in, both in the water and outside the water, really came to fruition just in the way you were surfing. Like, it just feels like you're becoming a better surfer, which is saying something because you started out at such a high level already,
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, since before Mexico, obviously I've always traveled with Matty Bemrose, and we've always been together working out stuff, but then also having more and more people in your corner. Obviously I was away so long, and we started working with Leandro Dara, Yago's dad. I've always been good friends with Yago, and then Yago's dad came along, and we, it's just, fitting bits of the puzzle, it's like you're figuring it out along the way, and you get better and better at it. And I feel like that was another area he helped me so much with just working on stuff. And also there's so much, like you can get a bit stagnant sometimes as a surfer and think that you're doing enough, but there's so much more to work on. I feel like I've progressed so much in the last 8 to 10 months. It's just been crazy. Even last year from my boards, I changed up so much stuff, but also just the technique, everything. It takes you way more places. And I think just adding so much more to my whole repertoire, I think it helped me so much, just because I never really had that as much. I wouldn't work on specific things as much. I would go and surf, and obviously, you can be good in a lot of waves, but working on waves when it's small, working on my technique, that's all happening now. That's happening so much more. It's way different than what it was before. And now I'm just building on that. That's my main focus as a competitor, building on that. And also my technique has been a super, super big focus for me. So I'm really happy that I get to work on that.
That's interesting. And I wonder if you agree with this, because I remember, years and years ago when Dane Reynolds was on tour, and while he wasn't really the tried and true competitor, he did say, he goes, one of the nicest things about being on tour, despite having to hassle for waves, he goes, the level is just so high. So you're always as sharp as you can. And he goes, that's a really good feeling in your surfing. I'm wondering, have you found that just in you trying to get better and improve and sharpen, has being on tour and just almost being forced to surf around CT caliber surfers helped in that regard?
Yeah, it has. I mean, you're always on. Like, it's you just always have to be on. It's pretty amazing. And yeah, we were working so much. Me and Leandro, we always just, I never used to watch footage that much of myself. I never used to watch anything really. And you come in from a session, oh, boom, boom, boom. You're looking at it, you're studying yourself. I never used to do that. It was just go and surf, and I remember it in my head and visualizing it. But that's one thing. You have to look back on it and see see what you're doing wrong too. So that's just been a big focus. I didn't always want to watch the bad waves. You know what I mean? It's easy just to go, I'm not going to watch that. But now I have to watch everything.
I mean, imagine if you were like a civilian like the rest of us. You don't want to watch any of it. You're like, I like the way I look in my head. I don't want to see it at all. Why is my arm there and my leg does that? It's ridiculous.
For sure. That's like my wife, Julia, she comes in from a session. She goes, I had the best session ever, but I don't want to see the clips because I'll look bad. But I'm like, nah, it's all good. It's, that's fine. But as a competitor, you have no choice. Like these guys, everyone is so good. I'm going to have to watch the bad stuff. So it's not easy, even the heats. But I feel like I've progressed a lot with that. So, you got to be humble towards it. Go, all right, I might not be as good at this as some of the other guys, but I'm going to get there.
That's the hardest part of the job, I'm sure.
It is, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So you're coming off a third at Bell's. We're back in the hometown, first time 10 and 11 months. I got a note here, and I do remember this now that I read this, but the last time you came on, we asked you for your forecast for Margaret River, and it was like dead on. So I'm going to ask you now, what is your forecast prediction for this year's event at Margaret River?
I feel like we'll start the conditions. I feel like we'll start the very first day. Maybe they will do the women's. I'm not sure if we'll surf, but the third and fourth day might have a bit of a storm, and then after that it's going to clear up, and we're going to get some days to run. It's probably going to have good size waves. I think like it's going to be maybe a couple of days at Margie's, but also maybe a sneaky day at the box here and there. And yeah, I hope they make use of it. We can get over there for when it's good. Because obviously everyone loves that. It's exciting. But yeah, I think we're going to get good waves. I think we expect Margs to be fun after this front passes. And then, I'm happy either way. I'm at home, so I'm fine about that. As we're just here and I got some good boards. So I just really want to go surf. And another good stop on tour. We've had such a good run already with the waves. So it's... hopefully we get some.
I like it. And I mean, it's one of those places too, and maybe you can educate some of the listeners, because obviously, the box in the past when we ran there is tide affected. So we typically don't get, 8-10 hour days out there. Sometimes it's only a 4-hour session or something like that. And we don't get to go there every day necessarily. So it is difficult, I'm sure, as a competitor is, how frustrating would it be for someone like yourself if we did run at the box, but just the way the draw worked out, it wasn't for your heat, and then we didn't get to go back there? Would you be bummed, where you're like, oh my god, like that's kind of my spot, I'd really like to go surf there?
Well, yeah, I think definitely half the men on tour, they want to surf there, and it's everyone wants to. It's but basically, I know we're going to have to surf Margs, and then the box is a bonus for us as a competitor. Like, you look at it as a bonus. So if I get to do it, okay. Then that's how it is. But because as a surfer, it's as fun as it gets. It's short and intense, but it's like it's just across the bay. It's like it's what you live for. You surf waves like that. But yeah, it's an added bonus as a competitor. If we get to go, we'll get to go, and I know everyone enjoys watching it, so that's cool.
Aside from yourself, if you had to give the listeners one men's and one women's surfer to watch in Margaret River this year, who would they be?
Well, I think obviously there's a lot of exciting guys on tour, especially the younger guys, and also this cut coming up. I feel like there's going to be certain guys that are going to rise and surf better because they have stuff on the line. It's going to be the usuals for sure. Like obviously John is really good out here. He's proven it, and Felipe won last year. But there's also guys that are super good as well. Like there's, Griffin. Obviously, we're all pretty close in the rankings, so I feel like they're going to be surfing really good. But there might be certain guys like Leo Firavan. He might surf, it might be on for this one and be pushing really hard. There's there is guys that are going to surf good. But my pick for the win,
They don't have to win. It's just someone to watch.
Someone to watch. I think look at the lower half of the rankings. I think there's going to be some really good performances. Maybe Owen. Who else is next to Owen on the rankings? Down a bit lower.
Callinan's down there.
Callanan. Owen. Geordie's below me. I feel like there's those guys. That area of the rankings. There's going to be some good guys to watch. Owen's good on his backhand out here. But yeah,
I'm just pulling it up now so we can all have a peek. Let's see. Connor's just below the cut line. Then Owen, Federico, Leonardo, Zhao's 25th, Morgan's 28th.
I think Connor
David
Coffin.
Jadson, yeah.
Yeah, that was one name I was missing because obviously you expect him to be up the higher end of the rankings. But I think Connor is going to be hungry for this one too. Connor, Leo, I feel like these guys are hungry. They haven't had really what they wanted at the start of the year. And those guys can do really good at pipe and sunset and those waves. So I expect to watch Connor or Leo. Like they're going to be ones to watch. Besides Ethan, Griffin and everyone, John, they're the usuals. But that lower half, I'm excited to see what they do. Yeah.
Me too.
And then
what about on the women's side? Yeah.
Yeah, for the women's, Carissa, obviously is a favorite, but then, also Tati West, I was staying with Tati over in Bells. We were all together. And I think she's hungry as well because she didn't do that. She was left hanging at Bells, didn't get the waves she needed.
Right.
And I think she's going to be hungry for a good one. I could feel it. So that's my picks. Yeah. Yeah,
those are good picks. Now, before we go to break, we were laughing about this before we started recording, but just a couple hours before we recorded, the news broke that reigning 3-time world champion Gabriel Medina, who has not competed this year, he's taken some time off, he's had some injuries, has been confirmed by Tours and Competition that he will receive the WSL wildcard for the first 5 events of 2023. He will also receive the WSL wildcard for the back 5 events of 2022. So he will be in the draw starting in Garajagan. And because he has that wildcard in 2023, his results in 2022 will count towards a ranking, which theoretically he could run the table and qualify for the WSL Final 5. So I'm just putting it out there because I want to get any sort of initial reactions or thoughts or questions from you about that.
Yeah, I expected him to come back. I was down in Brazil just before last year, and I went and stayed together with him. We cruised around and checked out his house, and I expected him to come back. Look at the next half of this tour. It's, Gabby can do well anywhere. I think it's exciting for him. And yeah, if I was him, I'd be coming back, looking at the waves there is. But, it is what it is. It's some guys, like I was talking to, a few guys and, not everyone's sure, So, but if I was him and I was looking at the waves, I'd be excited to come back. So, yeah, whatever he chooses is,
It feels like when you're a little kid and you have you go over to the rich kid's house, they've got all the cool toys and you're playing with all the cool toys and these are the best toys ever. And then someone's like, I've got another cool toy, and they just dump it into the mix and it's like, cool, more cool stuff. So I feel like for surf fans, everyone's like, wow, this is great. So no way.
Yeah. It definitely shakes it up. But yeah, we've been on for the first half, and then coming into that next bit, it'll be interesting to see what he does. But then also seeing what happens, with towards the end of the year, and who's going to be on tour is always interesting. I'm not sure what's happening with Yago and all that, but we'll see what goes on for the next half and how everything pans out. And obviously we'll be back on tour together, so I'm excited about that. Just get everyone back together. Who's been there? It's, sometimes doesn't feel normal without these guys. Gabriel, Yago, everyone hasn't been on there for the first half. I want to see everyone back. It's what you want. You want a tour with completely filled. So I'm excited.
I like it. We're going to take a quick break to get a word from our sponsors, and we'll come back and we're going to track exactly what we've been doing since our last podcast. So we'll be right back. Coming back from break, we mentioned that it's been a very productive 12 months since we've spoke. So much has unfolded. And I think maybe the place to start is with Mexico last year. Now, I think you and I talked last time, and I've actually seen you kind of comment on this before, but it's like there are so many good surfers that get developed when they're younger, and so few of them ever even compete or get sponsored or matriculate through those levels. And every kid that does well in the pro junior, it's an even tinier percentage that does well in the qualifying series, and even tinier percentage that gets on the challenger series, and so forth. And for every person that gets on the CT, so few of them ever even win a CT event. And you did, in your first year on tour. So can you talk to us just a little bit about the Mexico event? I know you said you had started working with Leandro Dora. Just walk us through that event and just the feeling of actually winning a CT, which is a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I see a lot of people on tour, and women's and men's side, that you go maybe sometimes forever, a whole career without winning. And then to do one in the first year was amazing. I was thinking about that. I changed so many things, a lot of simple things before that event. And, I was under pressure going into that event. There was a lot, on the line in a way. But I'm just trying to think the best possible way to explain it is, like it was funny. Like I feel like I've been sort of in the spotlight for a long time, and then people expect you to do all these things and to perform so well. And okay, he's been hyped up so much, but it was interesting. Like, oh, it was such a great feeling. I remember I was having so much fun in Mexico. It was one of the first events that, like I feel like I found myself as kind of a competitor as well. And just also, it was a turning point, I feel like, working with Leandro just before that, and just being humble, having a good people around you, not getting caught up in everything else. It was, I don't know, just something I couldn't really explain. It was something that, it all just fell into place. I don't know what it was. It was just felt great. I felt like it was a turning point, and a lot of things clicked for me. Just in my mind. I think I had sometimes when you have all these expectations and things, you buy into it too much from other people, and I think that event, I was doing it for myself. I was fighting for myself, fighting for my place there until I was, that's one of the first events where I started to surf a lot freer, and feel like that's been something I haven't had for a long time. I was, always surfing with a bit of a rush, like to try and do too much too soon, and that event, I was present, I was good, and I was like, okay, this is how I should compete more and more. I got to, find this feeling more and more. And,
right.
And obviously the ups and the downs with it, but as long as I have that feeling, I can produce it more and more. So, yeah.
I remember talking to Kolohe about something similar, and there's the Russell Crowe movie Gladiator, and there's a scene where he's sitting next to Jaimin Hansu when they all realize who he actually was, and Jaimin Hansu's character says something to the effect of, you have a great name, you need to kill it before it kills you. And I've always thought about that, especially with, surfers like yourself, who, as you pointed out, like, you're not actively creating hype around yourself. That's sort of the industry and the media and everything around you doing that. And it casts a very large shadow sometimes. And you almost have to kind of deconstruct that shadow so you can emerge as who you actually are. And it does just from the outside seems like, whether that's been a conscious decision or not for you, is something that has happened. You know, you've like reinvented this person in a way. Maybe you didn't reinvent them, but you sort of reestablished who you are from, you know, the little bowl cut kid that charged the box that everyone saw when, you know, you were 12 or whatever. And it's like, that person can't succeed when he's 25. You have to be 25 to succeed when you're 20. You know what I mean? So it feels like there's a little bit of that in the way you've approached things.
No, exactly. I think definitely I've reestablished a lot of things and just really like just reinvented a lot of stuff too. I think just for my own self, I'm not, you know, I'd always be a little, you know, just too self-conscious or what a lot of people think, you know, and this and that, you know, I'm not, you know, you got to do this for yourself. And I got to want to do this as well. You know, I want to work hard to succeed and do this for my own self. It's what I want. Sometimes people want to see, you know, they want to see a lot before, and, you know, you've been hyped up so much, but no, I was just going and doing it for myself. I want to let my surfing do the talking. I'm cool as it is. I'm happy with that. You know, I want to focus on what I got going on, not buy into everything else. They let everyone enjoy the surfing. You know, that's the main thing. All the talk and everything. I like, you know, letting people talk. It's good that I'm the talk, but I really, you know, was focused on myself and having really good people around me, because that's how you grow as a person too. And it's just, I want to go and surf more events and be on tour. You know, this is a long time, a long career. I could be here as long as I want. But, you know, and just enjoy it. I'm here, you know, to do my thing. And I'm just fighting for my place, you know, fighting to get ahead like all the other competitors on here. So, I'm excited. So it's good.
It is interesting, like, right? Because as soon as you kind of let go of a lot of that imagery stuff and the hype and whatever, and kind of turn the volume down there, success tends to happen. And then a lot of probably what the path that people were pushing ends up finding you anyway. You know, a parallel would be that since it had been like 15 years, right, since the 2006 Rip Curl Pro Search where Andy Irons won, and you've obviously been compared to Andy in approach for a long time, you know. So it's funny how those like comparisons end up becoming truisms as long as you're not focused on the comparison the whole time. Yeah, it's like, right. Well, you kind of feed into it in a way.
That's it. I mean, it's going to eat you up otherwise. It will seriously eat you up and just spit you out, and you won't know where you've been. You know, you got to be ready for that. And sometimes as a kid, well, all the time as a kid, you're basically not ready for it. You're not ready for what's coming, especially if it's so many people talking or this and that. It's always feeding into your mind, so you're always going to be around it, and it's hard to put it into the side. You just want to have fun and go surf. But now I feel like I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm not buying into anything else. I have good people around me, and my preparation, everything for each event, I'm taking each moment as it comes, and that's where I'm at. I'm surfing and I'm hungry. So I feel like I have the hunger back for my path, not for what everyone else wants and which way they should see me go. It's not a hype train or so that. I'm just really focused to go and surf and be on tour. Yeah.
I love it. So big win, championship tour win in Mexico. Tahiti gets canceled because of COVID purposes. What are your movements after Mexico? Because we didn't have anything specific that we needed to do for the CT surfers till the end of January. So you had a big chunk of time. Where were you? What'd you get up to?
So straight after Mexico, I stayed there for a little extra time, went and surfed. And then after that, I went back to California. I was actually cruising a lot with Griff and Colapinto and hanging out at their house a bit. And I spent a lot of time in San Clemente. And then straight after that,
did you go to the finals? Were you there at that time? Did you go watch it?
What happened during the finals? I think I had to leave down to Brazil. No, I did stay there, and I watched. Yeah, it was like, no, I wasn't. I was in the wave pool in Waco, Texas, had a trip planned for a long time to go there. And then I went down to Brazil, and I had 2 months off in Brazil. I went and hung out at my wife's family house, her place in Espírito Santo. And then I went to Florianopolis with Iago Dori, Leandro, stayed at their house for a couple of weeks. And then I went to Marizias. I went to Gabby's house for a couple of days. I went and saw a lot of places. It was cool. And
that does sound good.
Yeah, it was good fun. Had some good food. And then after that, headed back to Hawaii for the season. And did Haleiwa, did 4 months in Hawaii, which was a long time. That was probably the most I've done there, usually there for 3, but I couldn't get back home. So I figured, America was open and why not stay there? It's a good place to be. So Hawaii was the call.
Volcom's got a nice house there for sure, yeah.
Yeah, why not? I go back to my house and stay there. Second home.
Was the decision not to go down to the beach at the Rip Curl WSL finals a conscious one, or just a scheduling thing where it's like, well, I was going to Waco and that's how it ended up?
It was, well, I really wanted to go, and then obviously it was so exciting watching it online. I actually had a lot of fun watching it online, but I heard it was pretty cool. I mean, I've been to so many events and been there, so I mean, it was also a little bit, I was watching every single heat online and I wasn't in it. So I was like, it's kind of, I was thinking about it going, I really want to be in this thing and I want to be there next year, and I was surfing lowers a lot before the finals. I was there the whole time, but I really wanted to be in it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch it from afar this time, but I want to be there next year. I want to be down there next year. I didn't want to go down if I wasn't in it. I was like, okay, I'm going to watch online the whole time and I want to be there. That's where I want to be. So hopefully one day.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is because like sometimes I hear like high level surfers or competitive surfers, when they're in heats, they will not watch their competitors' waves because they're like, no, they're doing their thing. I'm going to do my thing. I'm not going to get dragged into it. Whereas anytime I'm surfing, I'm like watching someone blow the back out of the wave and going like, oh my God, like what's going to happen?
For sure. Yeah, you find yourself in a heat sometimes. You can actually get too focused on it. You're watching the guy keep blowing his fins out and it's like, it's not a good thing for me. I'm not going to focus on him. But no, that's funny like that. But yeah, being down there at the event, I probably would have been watching a lot of that and I would have been going, I would have been just raring to go at it. So I'd rather be here and actually doing it next year. So we're here this year and hopefully there at the end of the year.
I like it.
Yeah.
And in addition to your, while you were in Hawaii, you worked on one of my favorite content series, the Stab in the Dark series. And for the listeners out there that have not seen this, you should go check it out. They've been doing it for a few years, and it's essentially a double blind test with surfboard shapers where the shapers don't know who they're shaping for. They get sort of the specs of the surfer, how tall you are, how much you weigh, and they build, their best high performance board for the surfer. And then the surfer doesn't know who the shapers are, and they just have to test these boards throughout however long they got. And then come up with a winner. So it's such a cool project. And I just wanted to talk to you about it a little bit. And how long did you have to film? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What was your experience doing Stab in the Dark?
Yeah, Stab in the Dark was really good. Just to see all the guys that have done it before me as well, like Mick and Julian and Geordie, and the list goes on. There's so many good surfers. Taj obviously did the last one. So it was interesting. I was looking at all the boards going, how am I going to get anything right? And then I have felt quite a lot of boards, even though I'm pretty young. Like a lot of guys, if you get someone like Gabriel or someone, probably wouldn't know what the boards are, but he'd rip on every one of them or something like that. I don't know. Just certain guys don't pay attention maybe to each shaper as much. And then you go and, you just go and surf the boards as a surfer. But I think I learned a lot out of it, and it was good just to, you get better as a surfer too, because I'm in a phase where I'm trying so many boards, and I've got a couple of different shapers that I'm going back and forth with. But it was a good test during that time. It was, the only thing was I didn't like booting the one board out straight away. I had to get rid of one, but it was you want to give everything a chance because the shapers put a lot into it, and as a surfer, I think it I think makes you get better as well. Just understand more. You ask more questions about it, and so it makes you think. Because a lot of the time as surfers, we just don't think about anything. Oh, it feels good. Okay, I'll go and surf. But to know what works, and as a surfer, it's good fun. Like it's simple, but it's good fun. There's a lot that goes into it, that you don't know. So maybe get better.
I think you might be like the highest scoring surfer in the Stab in the Dark series, just in terms of guessing the right shaper at the start.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw that somewhere. I don't remember what you did, if it was like 9 or 12 or whatever, but I think you did really well. Where like someone like Taj, I'm pretty sure he was like, "This is just for theater because I'm gonna get all of them wrong," which I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, I mean, Mick's pretty meticulous. Like he knows his stuff, and I think he got the most. I might be just behind that, but. Yeah, it's good. Like it's interesting to see because, each board is alive. Someone made it, and it feels alive when you pick it up. I was talking about this to Brennan Leckie, like the Sharp Eye Oz shaper. He goes, "Oh, they got to feel alive when you pick them up." Like so, you can tell certain boards, it's the foam or just anything. Some boards feel heavy and dead, or they feel alive, and it's like. When you felt a lot of boards, you can pick some out, so it's good.
Makes sense. Now, I think I read recently that, as you said, you're working with a bunch of different shapers, but I think you recently named Eric Arakawa, Sharp Eye, and Mayhem are the ones you're working with mostly. But in Stab in the Dark, the board you selected was actually Channel Islands board shaped by Britt Merrick, and I think you said you actually ordered a few as well. Roundabout way of saying, how do you decide? Like when someone like yourself, it's probably you could get boards from every world-class shaper, but even 4 seems like you could get decision paralysis on like, well, I don't know about this or that. How do you sort through just world-class craft and deciding like these boards for this event, etc.?
Yeah, it's hard. It's, like a lot of guys, sometimes they get caught up in the brand and what guys are riding those, brands and go, okay, that's what's got to work for me. So that can sort of subconsciously be in your head a bit. But as you go through it and you do it more and more, like I think it was confusing at the start, Mayhem, Sharp Eye, Eric, and then I had a few Channel Islands. But I would narrow it down during the contest. Like it would just, go, okay, this is like my own Stab in the Dark. I'm going to ride just what goes on feel, and the Sharp Eyes have been doing it. And I'm just trying to figure it out, and maybe it happens when it happens. Maybe 6 months or 2 a year, okay, and then I'm gonna properly actually sign with someone, or I'm gonna keep riding those boards. But it's just I remember Andy did it for a long time. As a kid, I'd watch him, like he'd be riding a bunch of different boards. And I'm just keeping things open, so it's fun to do it, and go on what feels good for a little while. But yeah, the confusion that can creep in, like especially if you're indecisive, like some guys. It's you have to break them up into different batches. So each shaper's got a whole different view on what he's doing, so sometimes it's hard. But yeah, I'm riding mainly Sharp Eyes right now, and then if it's bigger, obviously a few Erics, and then I've had a few Channel Islands on the way, obviously because Stab in the Dark, and I wanted to try that model. It was good fun. And then a few Mayhems before that went good. But yeah, no bias to any shapers, just what was going on feel, which is good, So that's good.
I love stuff like that. I also think, just between the CT and who's riding what and Stab in the Dark, it means so much to the shapers. And obviously Channel Islands and Britt were so stoked to win Stab in the Dark, but it reminds me of like the contractors or the manufacturers in F1, just all the jockeying and just like, oh, we're going to get this driver or that driver, we'll pull this person over. And I mean, it's been going on for years. I remember how sensitive people used to get, like you mentioned Andy, but Kelly too, when he would like deviate from Channel Islands and ride another board, and people are like, you burn those photos, kind of stuff.
Oh
people
my God,
really sensitive about it.
People get so fired up about it, especially shapers. They're pretty, it's quite personal, like you put everything into it, so it's super personal for them, and then we go and ride it. But Yeah, I can understand, but I think in the last couple of years, there's been a lot more guys trying different stuff.
I've noticed that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
It does feel like, especially in the like late aughties, early 2010s, that the surfers were really locked in with their shaper, you know, and I don't know if it was contracts or I don't know if it was just a brand association thing, but I think you're right. It feels like everyone's trying a bunch of different things recently. And so are you going to stick with Sharp Eyes for Margaret River?
Yeah, I'm going to be riding Sharp Eyes. I got some good ones that feel good. And then obviously if it's big, I'll try a couple of Erics and got some more of those. But yeah, definitely since, you know, even being in Hawaii, like a lot of other shapers around the world have probably had to learn things, you know, and make boards for Hawaii and places like that. Like I surfed Sunset a lot last year, Kolohe, and he was riding some Erics. He had a Takara. I think he told me, yeah, I think Mayhem knew about it, but it's like, it's cool to see, you know, I think it makes a better evolution of your surfing too. Like your surfing will evolve a lot more as well when you start drawing different lines on different boards. So it's good to see guys riding different stuff. And then it's going to make the shaper work harder and work better as well. He's going to have to think about a lot more. So you grow both sides of the relationship for sure, which is good.
I think that's a great approach to it.
Yeah.
We got a couple more topics as well as some listener questions, but we're going to take one more break in to get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. All right. So we started the podcast talking about where you're at in the season right now. And with that third place finish at Bell's, you currently rank 13th. You are guaranteed not only to advance to the back 5 events of this year, you've survived the midseason cut, but you've also qualified for the start of the 2023 Championship Tour season. I know that we still have another event before the midseason cut is final and you're at home in Margaret River, but do you anticipate that your mentality is going to change at CT events after the midseason cut, knowing that I'm secure, my focus is no longer surviving the cut, it's about making the final 5? Or do you think it will be the same approach that you've had for the first 5 events?
I mean, it's one objective, the mid-season cut. You want to get it out of the way, so it lets you focus on the main goal at hand, which is getting to the final 5. But also, you could go, oh, okay, I've made it for this first part of the year, and I'm just gonna, you know, cruise and surf the events, you know, free. But no, I think I'm gonna be working hard still, and I'm treating them like Pipe and like Sunset. Like I'm just working super hard to make sure my preparation is good. And there's some really good waves on tour. So yeah, I think just being well prepared and giving it, you know, the best shot you can. You know, I as long as I'm happy with how much work I've put in and everything that goes into it, then I'll be happy with, you know, the performance and doing the best I can. So yeah, not too many, you know, thoughts or expectations going forward. Just excited to get it going. And yeah, Leandro's coming to G-Land, I'm pretty sure. So we'll all be there. And then yeah, excited to get the next half of the Dream Tour started. Like it's gonna be exciting. Everyone's gonna be on, and yeah, especially like there's so many guys that I want to compete against and surf against, and the waves to do that in. So yeah, I'm just pumped. I'm different headspace compared to last year. You know, I'm just thinking about all the things that have happened. Right. It's like it's pretty crazy. So yeah, this whole traveling around the world and the whole COVID thing, and now we've actually got the tour lined up. It's all the events that we dreamed of. Yeah, feeling good and getting better and better. That's all I can say, and just looking forward to it. So yeah.
Yeah, and I guess another way to look at that kind of question too, and it I would hazard to guess that it doesn't impact you as much, but I'd imagine it does for a lot of people, just in the sense because you do so much prep work, and it sounds like psychologically when you head into these events, it's very consistent because you've done the work. But do you get the sense that you are surfing as free as you can when you compete? Because that's obviously not always the case for everybody. Some people tighten up and they surf a little more conservatively when they compete versus when they free surf. Do you feel like you have the breadth of your arsenal available to you and that you feel confident in using it when you're competing?
yeah, I feel like you will hold yourself back a lot too if you're not free and you're just feeling heavy and it's not good. I feel like that comes down to a lot just being really present and connected to the ocean, and also just yourself. You don't have any limits or anything. It's just mainly going out there and enjoying it, because when you are surfing really good and you are performing so well, it does end up becoming fun on the other side of that. It's like, it's a good feeling. It's like, it's what we love. You love doing that and showing that in the heat. That's one of the hardest things to do. So just the way to get there, I think, and put your mind in a good place to get to that point. That's like the main thing for me is, staying good through a contest, and then it's hard. It's easy to talk about, but it's just hard to do. So I feel like that's, that without saying it's going to be there, I feel like I'm on the way to that, and just getting better at it. I'm always improving at it. So you see the top guys that have been on tour longer than me and guys before that, they would always shine through, and it wouldn't be hindered really. So I want to bring that out and keep improving, and I know I will.
Yeah, that sounds right. And I do think like just having, I guess this is my 17th year now, but it does feel like the judging criteria and the way they interpret world-class surfing has played a hand in that in a way. Like I think that when I started, there was a bit of a dissonance between what the judges rewarded as sort of elite level surfing and maybe what people were doing in free surfs. And I feel like after a few years, at least after I started, that started blending to the point that you brought up, where it's like, well, if you don't feel free enough to surf your very best and use all your tools and weaponry, you're just not going to get the scores, because there are other people who will, and so you kind of have to have that ready. There's not like two different versions of surfing, I don't think, at the elite level anymore.
No, and it probably comes more with experience, like especially after the first couple of years on tour. I couldn't answer probably those questions. How do I bring up the best performances or bring out that in critical moments? Like, you can't really answer that when you first come on your first year. I'll answer it, but I don't know how it feels. And now I feel like I'm starting to experience it more, and you feel it more. And being a young competitor, you have so much to give, you have so much energy, but it's also it comes with experience of being smart too, and learning how to react to the, each moment. And just more experience. I feel like it helps you so much. And I have everything there. It's just knowing how to channel it. So and you see it with guys on tour. There's a lot of guys have a lot of energy, especially some of the rookies. I've only been on here a couple of years, and it's like you learn so much, but you come on as a rookie, you have so much energy. I remember the last couple of years ago, I came on like just blazing in my own head, like, you're going to take it out. And you just learn to slow it down and go, all right, and like assess a bit more and experience more moments. And then, it's, you're ready for more and more as it goes. So I feel like you get better and better with it. And I feel like I'm getting better. I'm going to get into high levels. So that's good.
Love it. And you mentioned, that the tour is, all the spots that everyone dreamed about are here. They're here in sort of full flight in 2022. And, the back half of the championship tour that we will start competing in after Margaret River is Garajigan, El Salvador, Saquarema, Jeffreys Bay, and Chopu in Tahiti. You have experience at a lot of these spots, if not all of them, but are there any that stand out to you just from a competitor's standpoint where you're like, I can't wait to compete at this one spot out of those 5?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the lineup obviously is pretty damn good, and it's looking insane. I think Tahiti's always been a special place for me. I've always, have gone there as a kid, and I've always loved that place. Chopes will be amazing. But then El Salvador is incredible too. It's probably going to be similar to Mexico, and I love Mexico. So, El Salvador will be good. The wave will be similar, it feels like. And obviously J-Bay, like I feel like I've gotten so much better on linking waves and doing that surfing that J-Bay will be a special one. Just to be able to really put waves together from top to bottom and draw beautiful lines. The waves are beautiful. It's just, hopefully we're scoring at all events. And it's just so entertaining. So I'm really happy. It's definitely Chopes, J-Bay, El Salvador, and then G-Land's a good one to throw in the mix. So hopefully we score up there too. Yeah.
Love it. Well, we did put out a feeler for questions from our Instagram community for our listeners, those who follow us at the Lineup Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you for everyone who sent the questions in. We've whittled them down to 3. The first question is from @k.beachy, who asks, who or what is your go-to musical artist / band right now?
That's interesting because before heats or before everything, I don't always listen to music. It's quite funny because a lot of guys do. They'll listen to songs before to get them in the zone. Like Italo might be listening to some rap before he paddles out, but I'm calm and ready to go before I'm paddling out, and then I'm ready to go once I get out there. But the go-tos lately, I don't know. 50 Cent's been popping off a bit. Snoop Dogg's been going off too. I think between those couple guys, the OG rappers are always good.
Yeah, you got both coasts covered too, so you're in good spot.
Yeah, East and West, huh?
Yeah, you're good. No worries. I like it.
That's funny.
All right, the second question is from @Jenna Jesse, who asks, if you had to pick only one, Pipeline or The Box, which would you pick and why?
I'd pick Pipeline because it's left and right. Yeah, it's got both ways. I mean, The Box is incredible. It's my home, but you're only going one way. So, left and right, pipe, no one out. That's my pick. Best of both worlds.
I like it. And you got in Volcom, you got a nice spot there too. So
and the house is in front. I can always line up. Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Last one that we've asked from the Instagram community is from @Coco_Christ, who asks, what's the most important aspect after money that a sponsor can offer you when they're approaching you to partner with you? Interesting question.
After money?
Yeah, like if it's not about the money, like what's the most important thing when in a partner for you? A sponsor partner, I suppose.
That's a good partnership. I feel like it's always, you're always offering each other like, what do you need? Like what, always a way to help each other. What do you need to go to another level? It's kind of like that because, the money comes first, and obviously it's a service that, you're going to do and you're going to provide. Like you always, they're paying you to do what you do. But, I remember it was always cool. I remember one of the questions like Nike asked as a kid when I was on them. It's like, oh, what can we do for you? Like what, in any way possible. And that's always nice. Like when people ask that, because, it's like, you're not going to ask for the whole world. You're going to ask for what you need. And that's a good partnership. When the people are humble in a company and they offer in what, whatever they can do for you, you're going to offer your best for them too. So it's, that's how it should be in companies. You always, especially when you have hard workers and people who really do that. I look for that, and the person first. You want to be working for good people, it's like, it's the quality in people. So, money's can't take that nowhere, but you're going to have friendships and people there for a long time. So, quality people.
I like it. That was a good question. Good answer. That was really, really good.
Yeah, and give you some equity.
Yeah. Oh man, I've got a list. Let's go. All right. Thank you to everyone who wrote in at the Lineup Pod on Instagram. And the final segment, which we did do 1 year ago, so we'll compare our answers. I don't remember what you said. Lightning round. It's now time for the lightning round. 10 questions for you to answer as quickly as you can.
Whew, okay.
If you could only have one board set up for the rest of your life, single fin, twin fin, thruster, quad bonzer, or finless, which would you choose?
Thruster, guaranteed.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Burrito or pizza?
Burrito.
Last book you read?
I have read. The last one I've read was The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. It was a nice book about a monk. Yeah, it was very nice.
Cool. Best surf film ever?
The Bruce movie and trilogy.
One wave you never have to go back to?
That I don't want to go back to?
Sure.
No. Oh, Jesus Christ. I've been to some bad waves. Manly's pretty bad. I had a good result there last time though. But I can't say anything bad about some waves because you never know. You might just go back to them for fun. So whatever. There's some fat ones and some bad ones. I don't know. It's all good.
I might have to take that question out because everyone's everyone goes like right away. They're like, I know exactly what wave I don't want to go back to, but they're like, I don't really want to offend anybody because that's their wave and maybe they can't go anywhere else. Like,
exactly. That's funny because I had a good result there last year and it was like, okay, maybe I do like it a bit more now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Good experience. Yeah.
I don't want to make anyone pissed off.
That's fair. If you only got to surf one wave for the rest of your life, where would it be?
I could surf North Point for the rest of my life. I think that's pretty good. But I haven't been to Cloud Break. I've never been to Fiji. I hope that event comes back one day on tour. I know it's probably a bit of a harder event to run, like Chopu and a lot of the events that are a bit more remote. But if we got that one back, I could probably surf that for the rest of my life. It looks pretty good. But
it's pretty good, and maybe not as hard to bring back on tour as you think. We'll see. Okay, we're breaking news here on the podcast. Everyone's gonna that'll be on Beach Grit within a week. Okay, next question. Best person to share a lineup with?
Everyone on tour is pretty hungry. Don't know if I could name one of them. I mean, when the waves are big, I don't know. When I have a lot of fun, even just with me and my wife Julia like surfing. She loves surfing so much. She's a good one to share the lineup with when it's good fun. I like going on a surf trip, not thinking about contests so much. Sometimes you like to get away from it. That's a good way to share the lineup with. Share it with your partner. It's always good fun. Yeah, it's nice if you miss a surf.
That's a good answer. Okay, worst person to share a lineup with?
I've had a few in the past. I don't know. There's certain.
If you don't have to name them. If they exist, you could be like, I know who they are. I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, worst person to share a lineup with. Geordie Smith takes a fair few waves when we're on tour. I know he's always on good ones. And then, it's not bad though. I know everyone's hungry. There's always certain guys that are getting a lot of waves, but you just got to get more than them in the end. So I don't know. You could name pretty much the top 31 guys on tour besides me that you wouldn't want to share a lineup with. But it's at least all the waves get ridden. That's one good thing. So
there you go. There's very finite resources.
One of the worst things,
okay,
I'll tell you one of the worst things is I don't like seeing waves get wasted. If I go to a place and I paddle deeper than you, I'm not going to take your wave, but I'm going to be up there for the wave that does come through that you're not going to get. So I do, there's guys that will paddle up deeper than you, like certain guys, maybe Italo, or certain guys, will go way deeper. But it's good if they get the waves. So you can't look at it that part as annoying. I like to see waves getting ridden. Yeah.
That's very zen. All right. This is the final question of the lightning round. Finish this sentence. I will next achieve a state of happiness by
being present.
Perfect answer. Perfect answer. Jack Robinson, thank you so much for coming back on the lineup. We hope we get a third episode here in the near future. Best of luck at the Margaret River Pro. Congratulations on already securing your spot through the mid-season cut. And I'll see you in person in Garageagon. Look forward to it.
Thank you, Dave. I'll see you there. And really looking forward to this next event and beyond. So keep it coming. Let's go.